Good evening, Flosstube. I'm Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle, and it is Friday, November 8th, 2019, or something like that. I wanted to film while the time to film is good, and we'll start out with projects I'm working on. This is Crocus and Windowsill, and you can tell that it is still my favorite cross-stitchy thing in the world because I am making so much progress on this one so fast. If you've been watching, you know it's a Riola's kit. You know I got it for Christmas last year, and all the things I love about it. My goal for the end of the month is to fill it in up to here, and I really think I'm going to hit that goal. If something happens and I change my mind and I decide to work on something else, I'm fine with that too, but for the moment I am smitten with this. The other thing I have pulled out to work on, for some really weird and random reasons, I just got a hunch last week that I wanted to work on the Emerald City cell. So I pulled it out, and everything to the right of Dorothy, to the left of Dorothy, I stitched in 2 days last week, and I'm smitten with this one too. I started it, and I got kind of bogged down in the cabin and the tornado during Mania. Couldn't find all the colors I needed in my stash, even though I know I have them. So I kind of let it sit, and then I saw people had posted pictures of it on Instagram up to the Emerald City with those gorgeous green turreted buildings. And I saw that and I thought, oh, it's over. I should catch up at some point. I've read the book umpteen times. I have seen the movie more times than I've read the book. I know that lots of things happen after Dorothy gets to the Emerald City. So why I didn't realize there was going to be a ton of stuff above the Emerald City, I don't know. I've got lots of room left. I am really excited about this one. I did, and I don't know how or why or what I was thinking, I cut my fabric terribly crooked. By the time I get up here, it's going to be close, but I will find a way to make it work. And like I said, one of my obstacles with this one was that I couldn't find all of the colors of floss in my stash. I saw some talking last week. The Witchy Stitcher has released the teasers for her next Stitch Along, which is Chopping Mall. I'm tempted, but I'm so far behind on the Universal Monsters style that I think I'm gonna realistically wait until at least the skeleton is released before I make a final decision. One of the other things that is holding me back is she recommends against white fabric. So I will most likely have to try to dye something, and I've got RIT, but that sounds scary, so I haven't decided on that yet. But during all the discussion of people being excited about Chopping Mall and the floss list, there was a sale at Joann's, and I would have missed it if it hadn't been for the talk on her group. I got all the colors I needed for the Enchanted Forest, where did that come? Emerald City Cell. So I have all of them now. I had all of them before. They're with this project, that project, and the other project. Now they're all in one place. And I got all of the colors I was missing for Pyramid of Skulls. I love it, but oh my gosh, the confetti stitching and the colors are all so similar. So I got all of the colors that I didn't already have pulled. I bobbinated them. This is not pretty, but they're in order, and I think the confetti stitching will be more manageable when I don't have to hunt for colors. I didn't bobbinate the black because there's so much of it. And I got this little bobbin case at an estate sale last summer, I guess, for 50 cents. I'm going to start keeping an eye for these because it's almost too small, but for little projects with a bunch of colors, I think I'm going to want more of these. Next on the list, I think I told you I was going to have to cast on a new shawl because the other one had gone missing. Some of my Hobby Lobby clearance yarn from last year. It is, what is it? It is Yarn Bee Wild Streak It looks pretty in the picture. I hate this yarn. It is super loosely spun. I had 3 skeins of it, and in my 3 skeins, I must have had 7 or 8 or 10 either knots or spots where the yarn was just a poof. It wasn't spun at all. So I'm going to have to figure out how to join colors without hopefully losing the gradient pattern, and I'm going to have way too many ends to weave in, and this stuff, because it is so loosely spun, you can't pick it out without damaging the yarn. My total investment in the yarn for this shawl is going to be $3.66. And I am the kind of person, if I bought the yarn and I spent the money on the yarn, I might as well knit up the yarn even though I'm not enjoying it. Because if I put it back in my stash until later, it would be looming over me. Nothing else looms over me in my stash, but yarn I've decided I hate does. So I'm kind of thinking about working on it, but maybe not. Basically, the purpose of that project is to have something mindless in my hands to work on while I'm supervising the kids doing schoolwork. Remember how I said as soon as I cast on that one, I'd find this one? It took 2 or 3 days. It was in the back of the van. I ransacked the van. I had my oldest son ransack the van. I don't know how it was hiding, but it's here. And I like this one considerably better than I like that one, so there's that, I guess. I don't feel... It's weird. I'm not excited about knitting right now. But at the same time, after so many years of knitting while we do schoolwork, or knitting in the evenings, or knitting early in the mornings, my hands feel like they have to have something to do, or I make myself a little bit crazy. So I have mindless knitting. I will find something else to replace it with at some point. Or I'll finish those both, get them donated to my aunt's church, and I don't think that the negative energy of my hating the yarn will go along with it. And I'm really thinking happy thoughts as I knit them. I have some sort of shout outs, recommendations, whatever you want to call them. I've been watching a YouTube channel, NerdECrafter. She has 3 videos. She does a lot of reviewing kids' craft kits, which I think is how I first found her, because I used to buy a lot more craft kits for the kids. And it's just fun watching her use them, and she rates them for playability and some other things. She did a series of videos, and she is reviewing super old craft kits from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. There's a wood burning kit, a doll making kit, and they are just fun to watch. So really recommend those. Links in the description below and all that. I've also been watching a channel called Absolute History, and they have a ton and a half of videos on history, but I've been watching hidden killers in the Victorian home and hidden killers in the Tudor home. And some of them are kind of long. I think I watched one last night that was like 58 minutes, so they're really good background for watching while I'm stitching. And I watch Flosstube and all that too. The other thing that I am excited about, and this is an old video, Bendy Stitchy did one, I cannot remember the title of it, compilation favorite fabrics. I'll put the description in the box below. And she talked about not throwing away the Aida that comes with kits. And I don't know why you would throw away perfectly good Aida that came with a kit, but she talks about hand-dyed Aida, and I wouldn't have thrown away the Aida from the kits anyway, but I've got some thrifted Aida that I definitely want to play with now. She has me all inspired. Day before yesterday, I decided to stop at the Friends of the Library bookstore, because it's between here and the grocery store. It's between here and the closest grocery store. And now and then they have something neat. I went in there one day and got somebody's entire collection of Trixie Beldens for 50 cents a piece. So I go, I look at the kids' books, I look at the craft books, and sometimes I find something. They had a whole stack across Stitch and Country Crafts for 10 cents each. This is the kind of stitching that makes my heart go pity-pat. And I'm just going to show you my favorites out of the magazines that I found. Don't worry, we're not going to flip through all of them. I love landscapes. I was kind of looking, trying to figure out which ones I didn't already have, because when I started stitching, I found so many of these at the thrift stores and estate sales. And these just have, I'm kind of iffy on the paper dolls. I like the idea of the paper dolls, but it's not my favorite. I have the little boy who goes with her. He is the one with the squirrel on the string I showed a few videos ago. So I was tickled to find her. And I love in these, and I don't think they all have it, they've got some really great details of the faces and the stitching. And I hope I haven't lost my bookmarks here. Love the sampler with the weather vane. It is he who forges the thunder and creates the wind, who showers abundant rain on the earth. And I think I will stitch that with the religious verse. There is a whole little town of stitched cottages and shops. I've got so many patterns with little 3D stitched cottages and shops, and you know, I'm going to keep accumulating them. And then this one's an illuminated manuscript. Again, that is so right up my alley. And I found, do you remember, not showing you a pattern there. Remember the barn I stitched last year and how I wanted to find the other two barns in the series? Look what I found. This is, which one are you? Should have looked at these before this is the Pennsylvania barn. I don't know if those are hex symbols on the side or just little round windows, but either way, I am happy. And then there is the Western barn, which is absolutely my favorite because that's more like the barns in our area look. I really want to stitch all three of these. And I'm going to. Don't ask me when because I don't have to have a timeline. This is a cheese board. I don't know why I am so excited about cross-stitching cheese, and the picture doesn't look great, but honestly, neither does the picture of Canning Kitchen, which I'm working on. So I've been Googling and trying to find people's pictures of the finished projects, because I've noticed a lot of times, and even with like needlework shop patterns, sometimes the pictures that people post on Instagram are so much better than the picture on the actual pattern, and I don't understand that. And this is a Santa sampler that I am not totally into Santas, but I could see stitching that. They also had some of the stockings, and I know I have these in my sewing room, but I mean, backup copies are good. Bendy Stitchy, didn't you ask not long ago about the things that we buy over and over? I buy these stockings over and over. But like I said, they're a dime. I haven't done the math. That might be like what it would cost me to make a working copy of these. Somebody I watched last week was doing these sunflower sampler. Cannot remember who. Might have been Ardith Designs. Arlene Cohen, somebody. I got so many of these stockings. And I really truly want to stitch all of them. And I am not finding. There's something in here I was super excited about. Love the keys. Okay, this is going to make me crazy because I have these like all lined up with bookmarks in them. And there were a couple that were duds and didn't have anything I loved. And again, they were a dime. I like that one. I have this one somewhere else. I don't know. Well, now I'm super frustrated. I thought I had these all organized so I could super easily show you what I wanted to show you. Oh, this one I did not buy yesterday because I knew I had a copy at home. Here's what I want to show you. This is Elegant Harvest. There is garlic, there are carrots and radishes, and there are grapes. I had the first two in the series. I did not have the garlic. And there were so many of these, and they were all close dates, so I had a feeling that the garlic was probably there. And I had another halfway decent excuse to run to the grocery store this morning, so I went and I found it. And I would love to see if I can line up that board they're hanging from and put these all in one image. I don't know if I can do that or not. So this is my little haul of 15 old magazines. Like I said, I love these. There was another thing in here I wanted to show you. I don't know who. When I first started watching Flosstube, someone had done a video and she showed her first project, and it was the little girl doing a tea party. Apparently she has a companion piece called the Aviator, which I had never seen until I saw it in the back of one of these magazines. I'm really wanting to track that one down because he is so cute. And I'll just keep haunting estate sales and the library bookstore, and if I find it, I find it. If I don't, I've got plenty to stitch. I'm kind of torn, wondering if I should take the patterns that I really love out and put them in page protectors and just make myself a binder of the things I want to stitch, because this gets unwieldy really fast, and there are so many copies of these floating around out there that I am not worried about removing a few from the world. The other thing I found today was 4 Ages of Love and Counted Cross Stitch inspired by Norman Rockwell. And I don't know if I like these or not, but they were a dime. And I think I really like the fireplace. I Googled to see if I could find a stitched one that had better pictures. Whoever had made it had not done the back stitching in the old guy's face, which definitely detracted from it. So I don't know if it would look... I like it. I love the subject matter. I always love fireplaces. I don't know if there is a way to make the back stitching a slightly more subtle color, or I think there's something here. I just don't know what it is, and it's not like I'm going to start stitching it tomorrow, so I have time to look and think and learn new tricks. I did find here's some sad news today. My grandma, this is my mother's mother, the daughter of Grandma Walters, who painted the cabin that I showed you a few videos ago. They're tearing down her favorite thrift shop, and it's Value Village in Salem. The building is... I understand why they want to tear down that building and do something else with the land. The Kmart next to it went out years ago. But that was Grandma's favorite thrift shop, and every time I go there, I look for her black Subaru in the parking lot. Even though she passed away 5 years ago, my brain is wired to look for her car there, and it's going to be sad that I can't do that anymore. Shortly after we moved down here from Salem to where we are now, she just made a pronunciation that I couldn't run all my errands with 4 kids, and she needed to come help me every week. I don't know where that idea came from. My husband was working 80 hours a week. I was wrangling 4 kids on my own every day, pretty much. But she decided I needed help, and we would meet at Value Village, or she'd already be at Value Village, and we'd go have lunch at Jack in the Box and go to the library and take my daughter to her karate class. And I really think it was an excuse to spend more time with me and the great-grandkids. But that is why I am so wired to look for her car in that parking lot. And I know it's not going to be there. The days I did see a black Subaru was not a shock to my system. It was just, oh. So it wasn't my favorite thrift store, but it was hers. And it's one of the... Grief hits you in weird ways, and that's one of the weirder ones that's hit me. We do still have Red, White, and Blue up in Portland, and we had been going there since I was teeny tiny. And I'd get separated from Mom and Grandma, and Grandma was tall enough that I could see her hair over the high racks of clothing. It's 40 some years later, and every time I go in there I still catch myself looking for her hair over the tall Rex clothing. So I guess I still have that. Thank you so much for watching. I am Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle. I am trying to get my ducks in a row because I think I have something really fun coming later this week. Not later this week, later this month, if life will just cooperate with me a little bit. I am going to get this uploaded and spend the rest of the evening. Decide if I want to work on Crocus on the Windowsill or the Pyramid of Skulls. And I think that's it. Thanks again for watching. I will see you again very soon.